Hello, hello, what is up? What is good? We have a new chapter of One Piece to read. The last one was pretty insane. We got a glimpse at one of the most pivotal moments in the entire history of One Piece, one that we have been hearing about for hundreds and hundreds of chapters now, that really seems to have shaped the current landscape of inter-pirate relations and power struggles at the highest level, and has really done so all the way up until, this advent of the new generation of Luffy and co. So, at the time I was like, wow, is that it? Like, will we ever get to see more of the God Valley showdown and see the aftermath of it and see kind of the famous scenes that we know happened and find out why Garp and Roger were able to team up and blah, blah, blah. All these little mysteries involving the event. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, I don't think we will, because this is a story of that new generation. This is a story of the pirates that came after this and tore down the last castles of that generation. Now, I'm sure we're going to learn about Rox D. Zebek in a greater capacity and maybe get a little more backstory there, but I don't know. We don't really need to see these events in detail. What we need to see is the impression they made on those that were there, including our boy Kuma, who is out here catching salmon in the river. This is an adorable cover page. It's unclear if he's doing it right or not. I think he's not, because I think she's holding up big gloves for him and going, where are these gloves? You keep warping them away. In the back, call me crazy, doesn't the guy that's shouting on the shore look like one of the bandits that Luffy hung out with when he was a little kid? Maybe not, maybe. I'm sure I'll see in comments later. Anyways, let's get into this. This chapter is called Ginny, and that's the name of Kuma's comrade who is on the cover here. When we last saw them, they were living together on this island in the Sorbet Kingdom, where we know eventually Kuma becomes king. He is known to people outside as the Tyrant Kuma, which I think we got kind of like a double dip of comedic juxtaposition where, when we first see Kuma, he's like this towering, imposing figure, and he's called the Tyrant. And you're like, whoa, this is maybe one of the most brutal and worst ones. And then you see him more and you're like, oh, this is like a guy with bear ears and he has the pawpaw fruit, and there's like a very comedic juxtaposition. And then the more we're learning about him, the more we realize that it's a really cruel twist of fate that people even have this perception of him, because it looks like it could be no further from the truth, that he was actually a kind, generous, selfless man, as we see here, using his fruit to heal the people in this poor kingdom. Interesting, this kind of religion. Like we were talking last time, Okuma had like a Bible. What the hell is a Bible in the world of One Piece? And here we see a church with a cross, and it's just like, huh. Anyways, so yeah, he's doing this work only on Sunday. Again, more like Christian imagery or whatever. It's like interesting whenever like mangaka or like, famously Anno in Neon Genesis Evangelion used a whole lot of like Christian concepts and Christian imagery. And he basically was like, it's because it's cool. And it's like interesting to think of how cool it might appear to people in Japan. A very, very different perception and presence in their lives than those of us that grew up in Western countries where Christianity is like ubiquitous and milquetoast and pretty, not that mind-blowing to kind of see these surface level symbols and stuff. At any rate, there's like that factor. And then also the fact that Christianity is just kind of loaded with ideas and concepts and imagery. All major religions are. And so it gives you this like very complex working constructs in which you can build out lore that is both unsurprising and insofar as it tracks with other lore you've introduced, this kind of interconnected network of ideas, What I mean by that is, if you introduce the concept of heaven, you can introduce, therefore, the concept of hell. You can have angels, you can have devils. You can talk about saints, you can talk about miracles, you can talk about resurrections. You can have this holy day idea. You can have hymns. You can have the concept of the deadly sins. You can have cross imagery. You can have splitting the sea imagery, burning bush imagery, chariots of fire imagery. You can talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls. You can talk about the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah. All of these ideas are kind of like linked together in ways that if you kind of apply them with any sort of consistency, people can like anticipate and enjoy that anticipation of like other elements that'll be introduced. This is such a long tangent. We got to read the chapter. It's just like fascinating to me whenever Christianity emerges in something like this. And to be clear, I don't think this is actually Christianity. I don't think that Kuma is worshiping someone named Jesus Christ who died on a cross and then was born again. I think this is a religion centered around the sun god Nika, but it has certain Christian overtones. Okay, so Ginny is a little less compassionate with these old folks. I really like this. We're just getting a nice little slice of their life. It's not like boom, boom, boom pacing. Instead, you know, we're kind of just sort of seeing how this situation is playing out just a little bit, you know. Paying the heavenly tribute, of course. We've got this new king. King Bakori is a cruel man with a heart of stone. If we get sick, we can't pay our share of the heavenly tribute, and he'll throw us in jail. This awful, horrible system, starving to death in jail. I love how these old folks are drawing so much personality in life. Stupid skinflint king. What a interesting thing to call him. He bows and scrapes his lust with dragons. Healthier, it's a death sentence. Okay, so Kuma performs all these miracles, these healing miracles, but then we see this huge orb of what looks like the pain, like the collected pain of all the ailments and aches and pains and creaky bones that he expelled from all of these old folks. Does he now have to absorb it? Yes, he does. That massive pain and suffering won't disappear until someone accepts it. I see. This is so cool. Because this idea, this pain that he exercises from Luffy, which in retrospect may have been to like save Luffy's life. Like Luffy might have been dying after his fight with Moria. He expels all that pain and exhaustion, and then it's just sitting there. And he makes Zoro this deal where he's like, "Do you want to absorb all of this pain in place of your captain?" And Zoro and Sanji fight over who's going to do it. It's honestly one of my favorite scenes in One Piece. And then, of course, the absolutely iconic, what happens? Nothing at all. So again, at first, it seems like this is Kuma's like weird cruelty or like his extremely harsh test of valor. But now we understand that it's like a little more than that. Like this is also Kuma just practically being like, we gotta get rid of this thing. Somebody's gotta absorb it, or else it's just gonna sit there and kill somebody someday. This is very interesting context. What a complex character. The more I think about Kuma, the more amazing it is, just the way he's been woven in as this side character over like 60 volumes at this point. Left untouched, it makes its way back to the original person, but the more than the pain, I feel delighted to see their happiness. I'll toughen up and get stronger. And they eat. So then, this is now 5 years later. We had another 5-year time skip there after that little slice of their life. Ginny wants to get married. He doesn't want to bring her misery because He knows he has this accursed blood that the world nobles are always trying to stamp out. Ginny kind of reminds me of someone. Huge glutton. Loud. Boisterous. Always clearly demanding what she wants. I think even if they don't get married, maybe a little glutton will come along from this relationship of Jewelry Bonnie, of course. The freedom fighters, before they were called the revolutionaries. Dragon, he's so cool. He must be someone's hero, I bet. Go out to sea and use my life to help others, too. 22 years ago, disaster struck. Laws have changed. Now we're free to do what we want from people with from the south. Okay. Kuma mounts a full-on rebellion because he's fucking based. And they crossed a line that they couldn't have crossed, and at that moment, there's nothing to do but rebel. Absolutely based. My alarm is going off. 1 second. Hee-haw. I forgot I'd set that. Okay. The king here makes a good point, because many such cases in real life where all you need to be told is that you're superior to someone else, and then you can stomach the most inhumane mistreatment of them, truly believing that they have it coming and that you are in the right. Only the north part of the island is the actual Sorbet Kingdom. In other words, the south, all its old people that can't pay their tribute should be cut loose. Doing so, the country will be prosperous and balanced. Yeah, these guys... This one guy with the hat. This guy was on the cover page, too. Am I crazy? I think he looks kind of like the one mountain bandit. Right? Are you thinking of who I'm thinking of? Am I getting all mixed up? I don't know. We'll find out later. I'm sure someone will mention if it's true. Plan came down from someone above him. If we want to fight back, we have to take on the whole world government. Real. Yeah! Boil with anger. The king's given in. The enslavement policy is no more. Of course, this someone is Eva and Dragon. Here to get you out. If you're still the same man as that boy back then, come with us and change the world. Arrival of the great age of piracy and the tragic fall of Ohara, the group took up arms, and with the addition of Kuma and the twin pillars of Dragon and Ivankov, they underwent a transformation and became the revolutionary army the world would later know and fear. Let's go! Oh, and Ginny came too! Let's go! Awesome shot. Super awesome shot of all of them. Dragon with, like, the fatigues, looking like fucking Castro, looking like fucking Che. Oda knows what's up. Oda knows the based people of history and how to pay tribute to them. Plans to act like mercenaries and lend our strength to rebellious elements seeking to overthrow their kings. Those who wish to join will be taught how to use weapons and fight with them. One day I want to raise this into a massive armed force scattered across the globe. He did it! Cool! Whoa! Dragon spent some time in the Navy. Probably because he's Garp's son. I never thought about that before. I never really thought about Dragon's childhood in general. Garp is not, father of the year. But he probably did try to get Dragon to join the Navy. Strange to be at odds when both the Navy and the revolutionaries just want to help people. This is interesting. Eva here makes a good point that I'm sure they know a lot of good people in the Navy. There's obviously a lot of terrible people too, but there's good pirates and terrible pirates. Only the Revolution Army is based, and only the government is pretty much unilaterally evil. That's just real shit right there. This sort of balance of power is just how it goes. With you all the way, Dragon. And he still returns back to Sorbet Kingdom to make sure all these folk are okay. Okay, 14 years ago. So now we've leapt ahead another 8 years. Ginny is happy. For a second, when she said, "Oh, is it showing?" I thought she meant, "Oh, can you tell I'm pregnant?" And I'm like, no, absolutely not. You do not look pregnant. You look as skinny as ever. Actually, everyone's crying. Ooh. Ginny, right after this moment, was captured. Okay. Alright. Very exciting. So what events do we still need to knock off between now and the end of the flashback? And can we kind of predict what's going to happen? Julie Bonnie is born from Kuma and Ginny, presumably. I would think. Definitely Ginny's kid, at least, I think. So therefore, Ginny probably needs to get freed at some point. Kuma needs to become king of Sorbet Kingdom. We know that happens at some point. Kuma needs to agree to become a pawn of the world government and have his body cyborgified by Vegapunk and made as the blueprint for Pacifista. And I guess that's about it. I think that's about it. Because when we first meet Kuma, he's like semi-cyborg, and he has some sort of deal with the world government. And everything kind of follows from that he is truly a revolutionary and has strong revolutionary desires, but those are in conflict with his world government programming in such a way that maybe through the machinations of Vegapunk or maybe through the machinations of the revolutionaries, they're able to kind of like have him do both and be this sort of cyborg double agent. Okay, so those are the 4 main pillars. It could be something like, in negotiating Ginny's release, Kuma agrees to make this sacrifice, or maybe the government proposes this to him and he agrees to it. Then there's some scheming where they try to come up with this super deep double cyborg agent plan. It's a moment of true heroic sacrifice, though, because no matter what, Kuma's really kind of giving up his life as he knows it. But as another condition of the deal, Kuma is installed in power in Sorbet Kingdom, where his queen wife, Ginny, kind of have this prosperous life, but maybe it all falls apart. I don't know. Oh, God, I know what it is. As like a symbol of the government's power and the fact that Kuma, the great revolutionary, has now totally given up the cause. This is why he's known as the tyrant. They install him as the king and make him act cruel to all of his beloved old folks that he used to treat so well. And this creates the great ironic tragedy that breaks Julie Bonnie's heart when she finds out about it. Yeah. And then that kind of brings us to present day. This is my call, because I think that could be devastating. So we'll see. We'll see in the next few chapters, but that could be a very devastating ending. Okay, bye-bye.